My spirit comes from the belief that this life is meant to be lived fully. I explore, I take backflips, I take risks. Not because necessarily I'm fearless, but because I'm curious. And that bleeds into everything that I do. That curiosity and that adventure, that allows you to just take these series of leaps that's very similar to just building a company. It's with a small thing jumping off a boat, and next thing you know, you're in midair upside down. You're never 100% ready for those types of things, but you trust your instincts, your preparation, your team. And at the end of the day, it's pushing past your comfort zone and seeing where that takes you.
Welcome to Dream Big with Big Dreamers, conversations for career growth, inspiration, and insight. It's time to dream big. Today's guest is someone who builds companies the way some people build bonfires, boldly, intentionally, and with the power to ignite change. Michael Mosseri is a serial entrepreneur, technologist, and CEO of TotalBrokerage. He's known for creating transformative companies that solve complex problems while helping people work smarter. He's been recognized twice on the Gator 100 list for the fastest growing University of Florida alumni-led businesses, and he's built platforms used by hundreds of thousands of professionals. But beyond the titles and the accolades, Michael is an adventurer at heart, with a spirit that shows up in everything he touches. Michael, welcome to Dream Big with Big Dreamers.
Thank you, Donna. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I've read that your journey really started with literal fire. Can you share that story and how it shaped your mindset?
Absolutely. When I was a child, I was a very curious person, but I liked to do lots of things. Like typical kid, liked to play with models, cars, planes, types of things. So I convinced my parents actually to buy me a flying model airplane, which was, of course, powered by gas. So one day I was in my garage, and unfortunately there was an accident, and one of those gallons of gas actually exploded in my garage. And that type of fuel for those types of cars, unfortunately, they're like napalm. They stick to you. So I was badly burned, and I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, unconscious most of it. But that really just set the stage as to who I am today. It led me down a path. There's a saying that says, fire is fed by everything that's thrown into it. You're challenged by adversity, and it made me a curious person. It made me a lot of things that I don't wish that on anyone, but I'm thankful that I at least got to experience that because it really propelled me in a lot of different ways.
It certainly did. To me, when I think of what you've done, you're all about solving problems. And does that come from that time that you spent in the hospital wanting to solve that problem, or does it spring from someplace else?
I guess you would say I'd always been fascinated by puzzles, challenges, whether that's software, business, or just life in general. For me, everything clicked when I started my first company. I just started solving those real problems for someone, making something meaningful. That curiosity leads into how do I solve those problems, and then it shifts from something of a skill, let's call it, to something of a calling. I'm just wired to find the different inefficiencies in something and dig into those causes and create those solutions. Hopefully the things that I create feel almost obvious in hindsight. So I just see a problem and I have to fix it. And part of it's like the curiosity. It's like, why does that problem exist to begin with?
Now, when you think about all of the companies that you've created, it takes a different mindset. It takes a different person to do this. Do you see yourself differently than other people? Do you maybe see yourself as a high performer?
I do. For me, high performer, when I hear that, it's really just consistency, clarity, and the commitment to growth. Every day matters. You plan with intention. I personally get coaching. I don't have any qualms about saying I don't know. What sets me apart from everyone is I'm always learning. I don't feel that I have any of these fears of, let's just say, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just willing to show up at this point, and day after day, even if it's hard, it's boring, I'm willing to put in the work. Some people say they're willing to do whatever it takes. You have to question that. Are you willing to really have the humility that comes with whatever it takes? And sometimes it's just putting in the work. And inevitably, all of those inputs make you a high performer as an output.
I see you as someone who's always on the edge, just pushing further than most other people. I saw a photo of you doing a backflip off of a pirate ship. And in my mind, that was like, this is a guy. He absolutely lives on the edge. Where does that spirit of adventure come from? And does that play into how you lead or you build companies?
Yes, sometimes you just have to question yourself, though. You're like, why am I doing this? I just got back from a ski trip and I was going down a double black diamond. And I stopped and I looked around and I said, wait, why? Why am I here? But so my spirit comes from the belief that this life is meant to be lived fully. I explore, I take backflips, I take risks. Not because necessarily I'm fearless, but because I'm curious. And that bleeds into everything that I do. That curiosity and that adventure, that allows you to just take these series of leaps. That's very similar to just building a company. It's like start with a small thing jumping off a boat, and next thing you know, you're in midair upside down. You're never 100% ready for those types of things, but you trust your instincts, your preparation, your team. And at the end of the day, it's pushing past your comfort zone and seeing where that takes you.
I love your mission, helping people solve problems, work smarter, and soar. Now, in addition to soaring through the air when you're jumping off of something, what does soar look like to you when you're looking at the people that you help?
I would say that SOAR is really about freedom. Freedom to do your best work, to live aligned with your values, and to be able to create without constraint. Once you've removed all of the noise, optimize whatever you're optimizing and tapped into your inner why, you get out of this survival mode at this point and you find yourself in a place where you're just energized, fulfilled, and impactful. To me, that's soaring.
Oh, I love that. And I think there's so much truth to that, right? It's so many people can't because they are in that survival mode. Their nose is on the grindstone. They can't really think beyond that. But when do you feel that you got to that point in your own career?
That's a great question. It's difficult to pinpoint the exact moment. I feel every day you show up and you want to make that difference. And one day you just look back and say, oh, these are the things I accomplished. You never know what it's like until you do it. You have a grand plan, you have a vision, you have this idea of what the future is going to hold, but it necessarily doesn't always shape out that way. So I couldn't pinpoint it. I just happened.
When you think about the people who work with you, what do you hope they say about you?
I hope they felt that I challenged them and I supported them about growth as well as the output. I want to be known as someone who creates that space where they can do the best work. And at the end of the day, they feel better about it. They feel like they've committed to a bigger part of a team, of an organization, and they feel like a better person after it.
When I think of you and your leadership, you do create a culture. I think that's part of the legacy that you build into your companies. But I'm curious about the legacy that you're trying to build, not just in business, but for yourself as a person.
So legacy to me isn't about the products or the businesses. It's really about the people. At the end of the day, that's what's going to exist. It's just how you impacted these other people. Yes, I do want to create these meaningful companies and solutions, but I also want to be a dad, a husband, a friend, a leader who helped pick other people up. I want to see my kids grow up, see that success and integrity basically are tied together. Doing these hard things with your heart, that's what really lasts.
What is your definition of success today? And has it changed over the years? Is it something that maybe when you talk to your kids, you refer to it differently than maybe your parents did?
Absolutely. When I was younger, success was all about those milestones, the how much money do we make, the user numbers, whatever it is. When you're young and you're seeing two steps in front of you. But now it's more of the alignment. Do I feel that I believe the work that we're doing is impactful? Do the people I work with, are we mutually respectful? Does it reflect who I am, of being better? And how do I challenge myself? Am I present? How proud am I of how I show up? Real success is the impact, the integrity, and the inner peace at the end of the day. It's like, how does that all line up together?
When you think back, is there any advice that you would give to someone who wants to build something big but just doesn't know where to start? And I think this is important for me to ask you because you've bootstrapped so much of your journey. You've done it yourself. You really have done it all yourself.
Start, period. Start small, period. Start now. You don't have to wait for the clarity. The clarity comes from the doing. You get to pick a problem and try and solve it. Solve it for one person. Refine, repeat, build whatever you want around that. Get help. Like you have to start today. But then as you grow, You want to get help in the way that's impactful. You want to be challenged. That involves bringing in coaches, mentors. Anyone can help you find your blind spots. You don't have to do these things alone. At the end of the day, every successful person was just someone who was willing to try. They put themselves out there, they give it their best, and it works out because you don't quit.
If there's one thing that I want listeners to take away from this is something that you've said over and over again, and that is that you're not afraid to reach out for help, and that your success really comes from turning to others and listening. You have a coach, you work with Vistage. Is there anything else that you think the listeners should take away from your story? What would that be?
Everyone can do something impactful, even if you have nothing, even if it only impacts one person. My philosophy is to stay curious and stay committed and lead with your heart. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. Keep showing up every single day.
I love that. Start, show up, and just keep going. Keep going.
Absolutely.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.